Today's conversation is not about romance. It is not about the excitement of beginning again. It is about something far more structural, something psychological, and often invisible. This talk is for men in their 50s and beyond who are considering remarriage. Because at this stage of life, the question is no longer simple. It is no longer, do I like this person? It becomes something deeper, more complex. Is this a union of two people or a collision of two life systems? 1. The psychological shift from building a life to reconfiguring one. When we marry in our 20s or 30s, we are building a future. We are architects of something not yet formed. But remarriage in your 50s is fundamentally different. You are no longer building from zero. You are merging two fully constructed worlds, two histories, two identities, two emotional ecosystems. And this is where many men make their first critical mistake. They approach remarriage emotionally, when in reality, it is structural. Because what enters the relationship is not just a person, it is children, financial assets, habits and routines, family loyalties, social identities. In other words, you are not marrying a person. You are inheriting a system. 2. The illusion of emotional rescue. Let's be precise. Many men at this stage are not simply looking for love. They are seeking relief. Relief from loneliness. Relief from silence. Relief from the weight of aging alone. And that is entirely human. But psychology warns us of something important. When a relationship is built to solve a feeling, it often distorts reality. You begin to see not the person as they are, but as the solution you need them to be. This is where an ancient insight becomes surprisingly modern. The Tibetan philosophical tradition teaches that. Human suffering often begins not from reality itself, but from the illusions we project onto it. We do not see clearly. We see what we hope will save us. So the real question is not, is this person right for me? But rather, am I seeing this person clearly or through the lens of my loneliness? 3. When families collide, the hidden architecture of conflict. Now we move deeper, because the most significant conflicts in remarriage do not come from personality differences. They come from structural misalignment, especially when children are involved. Let's examine a common scenario. Both partners have children. On the surface, it appears to be a simple union, but psychologically, it is not two people. It is two tribes meeting under one roof. And within this structure, 4 relational axes emerge. 1. The couple. 2. Each partner and their own children. 3. Each partner and the other's children. 4. The relationships among the children themselves. This creates a complex emotional network. And within that network, a powerful dynamic appears. Loyalty conflict. Children may not consciously say it, but internally they often feel. Is my parent replacing our family? This creates invisible alliances. Father and his children, mother and her children. 2 emotional camps. And from a systems perspective, even a small disagreement between the couple can rapidly escalate into group conflict. This phenomenon is well documented in family psychology as an alliance structure. Once this forms, the relationship is no longer just about the couple. It becomes influenced, sometimes dominated by group dynamics. 4. The authority dilemma. Another critical fault line is authority. In remarried families, one question is always unresolved. Who has the right to parent? If a new partner asserts authority too quickly, children resist. If they withdraw completely, the family never integrates. This creates a paradox. Too much authority leads to rejection. Too little authority leads to fragmentation. There is no easy solution, only careful calibration over time. 5. Fairness, competition, and emotional economics. Now consider another layer of fairness. Children are highly sensitive observers. They track time, attention, financial support. Even small differences can be perceived as injustice. And when fairness is questioned, something else emerges. Competition between children, between families, and eventually between the adults themselves, because parents are biologically wired to protect their own children. So what begins as a marital issue can quickly transform into a parental conflict. 6. The man without children entering a pre-existing family. Let's shift to another structure. A man without children marries a woman who has children. At first glance, it seems simpler. It is not, because psychologically, He is not forming a new family. He is entering an already established system. And that system has history, attachment, boundaries. To the children, he is initially not a family member. He is an outsider, and this creates emotional ambiguity. He is included, but not fully accepted, present, but not fully integrated. This often leads to a quiet but persistent experience. Emotional isolation. 7. The stepmother dynamic. When the woman enters his family. Now reverse the structure. The man has children. The woman does not. Here, the woman is expected implicitly or explicitly to step into a maternal role. But psychologically, this is one of the most difficult positions because children often experience loyalty to their biological mother, resistance to replacement, suspicion of the new figure. This creates a classic internal conflict. If I accept her, am I betraying my real mother? So the woman occupies a fragile space, not fully a parent, not fully an outsider. And the man, in turn, becomes a mediator, balancing his role as a partner and a father. 8. The simple case. No children, but not no complexity. Finally, consider the case where neither partner has children. This appears to be the simplest form of remarriage. But even here, conflict exists, because what enters the relationship is not children, but familial influence and lifestyle rigidity. By your 50s, your habits are not flexible. They are deeply encoded. How you spend money, how you manage time, how you define responsibility. These are not preferences anymore. They are identities. So even without children, two completed lives must negotiate coexistence. And often, the real conflict becomes, whose way of living defines the relationship? 9. The most concrete reality economic structure. Now we arrive at the most practical dimension, money. In younger marriages, couples build together. In remarriage, assets already exist. Property, savings, retirement funds. And the question becomes, how do we integrate or separate these systems? This is not just financial. It is psychological, because money represents security, power, trust. Unclear financial structures often lead to hidden resentment, power imbalance, long-term instability. So one of the most critical conversations before remarriage is this: what economic system are we creating together? 10. The final question. After everything we've explored, we arrive at the core question. Not, do I love this person? But, what structure am I entering? Because remarriage is not a solution. It is a transformation. It does not remove loneliness automatically. It does not simplify life. It introduces a new system, one that requires clarity, patience, and psychological awareness. And perhaps the most important question of all is this: am I seeking a partner or an escape from myself? Your answer to that question will determine the future of your relationship. If this perspective helped you see relationships more clearly, not just emotionally, but structurally, consider subscribing and sharing this with others who may be facing the same crossroads. In the next lecture, we will go even deeper. What kind of personality truly stabilizes a remarriage? Because in the end, structure matters, but so does character. I'll see you in the next talk.